Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and this brother ScanNCut tutorial on how to edit or modify SVG files to remove layers or pieces that you don't want to cut. This can be very helpful for customizing designs to make them better suited for your craft projects. In particular, if you've been looking at any of my animal SVGs, you'll probably have noticed that lots of them contain my unique signature style of the flower and leaf pattern within the animal body shapes. I really like adding this in as I think it gives an extra layer of intricacy and elegance to the projects. However, I understand that they may not necessarily be to everyone's taste. Particularly if you're making a more realistic looking animal, you may want to remove those layers completely, and this video shows you how to do that in the Canvas software. If you've got a Cricut machine or a Silhouette machine instead, head to craftwithsarah.com/help to find a similar version of this video but for your particular type of cutting machine. But if you've got a ScanNCut, you're on the right video right now, so let's get started. First, open the SVG file that you want to change. So in CanvasWorkspace, press File, Import from your computer, and then find the download folder and make sure you've unzipped that folder. If you're using one of my newer designs, you'll see all of these folders inside your download. For CanvasWorkspace, I find the easiest one to work with is the 04 Layers Separated by Color option. If you're using one of my older files and you don't see all of these different options, then you'll have to use either the DXF, which has all the pieces separate on the screen, or the SVG file that has them all stacked up to look like a finished picture. I'm going to go into the 04 Layers Separated by Color and then choose the file that starts SVG in the file name. Now, I'm not quite sure why this happens, but for some reason, whenever my files are opened in CanvasWorkspace, they all come in black. It's very strange because I save the files with all of the appropriate colours, and every other software program that I've tried opens them in colour, but for some reason, CanvasWorkspace doesn't like it. I have a separate video on how you can put all of these back to the correct colour. I'll link to that one in the description of this video, or you can find it by going to craftwithsarah.com/help, choose ScanNCut from the list of machine options, and then look for the video which is on how to recolor SVGs in CanvasWorkspace. I'm going to go ahead and follow the steps in that other video now to put all of these pieces back to the correct colours, and then we can take a little look at how to remove the patterns. I've now followed the steps in that other video to add the colour into all of the layers, and as part of that video it shows how you can make a copy of all of the layers and position them on top of each other so that you get what looks like the finished picture over on the side. For this particular design that was probably not necessary because you could very easily just click into the pattern layers and press the delete key on your keyboard and get rid of them. However, I like to know exactly what my projects are going to look like when they're made before I get started. So by doing it this way, I could delete them on here too, and then I get a better idea of what the finished papercraft will look like. For instance, a benefit of now seeing it like this is that I realise that perhaps these little lines, cutouts in the head aren't that realistic either, especially now that we've removed the flowers. So I could drag this over and then click the fill button, copy the hexadecimal code, this number here with the hashtag. So right click, copy, and then go to the layer underneath and the fill tool and paste. I used Ctrl and V or Command V on a Mac, or you can right click, paste. And then I could delete that one. I think that's looking nice. So I do want to replicate that on the version I'll actually cut out. So I'm deleting this one with all of the cutouts, and then I've still got that colour, so I can paste that in there, and then I'll move that up to that one because that now belongs with those colours. And then that would be everything that I wanted to change for this one. So at this point, I could delete the one over here, and then all of this would be ready to resize because at the moment it's very, very small, and then get ready to cut with my ScanNCut. For information on how to resize everything so that all the pieces stay in proportion and will put together beautifully when cut out, and how to actually send all of the different colours to your ScanNCut to cut with different colours of cardstock, head to craftwithsarah.com/help, choose ScanNCut from the options on the page, and then look for the video which is on how to cut layered SVGs with a ScanNCut. Here's another example, this time using the Basset hound design that's available in my shop or in the Craft with Sarah membership. For over 200 different dog breeds, as well as lots of cats, small pets, reptiles, horses, fish, and everything in between, head to craftwithsarah.com/products. I've already opened the SVG file, and once again I went for the 04 separated by colour option. Once again, it did all load in black, so I followed the steps in the other video on recolouring to put all the colours back in. And again, I've made a second version of all the layers and placed them one on top of the other. Just like with the African grey parrot, it probably wasn't necessary this time because it's quite obvious which are the layers that have the flowers on. So you could just select them, click and drag to select multiple, or do it one at a time, and press the delete key on your keyboard to get rid of them. But if you prefer, you can drag and drop them on this one on the left too, so then you can decide if you actually do want to remove them, or you might find when you're dragging them off that you prefer how it looked with the flowers on. If you're struggling to click to select the exact correct layer, then you can do it in the layers panel instead. Look down to find the one that you are looking for. And so I'm going for that one with the flowers, and then click it in the layers panel. And then you can either click it because it will already be selected, or once you've clicked it in the layers panel, if I click this one on the back, for example, you can press the delete key straight away to get rid of it. And that's how the Basset hound looks without the flower layers. One of the benefits of taking out the patterns is that it becomes much easier to cut the design at a very small size. Maybe you want to make a fridge magnet, or cut this to go on a very small greetings card, or as a topper for a scrapbook page. Now all the pieces that we've got left are nice, even, big, rounded edge shapes, which are going to be pretty easy for our ScanNCut to cut out. Let's take a look at one more example, and then I'll show you how I cut that one out really small and how it compares to the larger version. Here's a cute little Halloween cat peeking out of a pumpkin or jack-o'-lantern. There are lots of very intricate details in this design. If we zoom in, you can see a little bit better, especially around the pumpkin with this leaf pattern, and then around the inside of the cat with this little waves design. If I was to cut this out at just 3 inches tall, which is my aim for this project, then I think the ScanNCut would probably struggle with these detail layers. At such a small size, these edges will get incredibly thin and the paper will tear really easily. So let's remove them and simplify the cat design. This time, because I'm going to be removing more layers, rather than deleting them straight off, I'm going to select them and just drag them underneath for now. So I've got that detail layer. I'm going to go for the lighter yellow that's making the light inside the pumpkin, the detail layer on the cat, and the little edge bits around the top of the pumpkin. That's looking better, but it's a little bit strange now because my cat is a dark grey, but his paws are black, so he doesn't quite match. I also think that the little cutouts for his claws will be very hard if the whole design's only 3 inches tall. So what we can try is moving these away, and then with one still selected, press the fill box and copy the colour. And then with the paws that are left, and also the main body, let's go into the fill tool. Because I've got multiple layers of different colours selected, I can't paste into the colour box. I need to choose a random colour first, then it will become available for me to paste in. And now they're all looking the same colour, which is much neater. Then I can use these to work out which bits I need to delete on my main screen. First, I'll drag a box around everything and just give it a black line around the edge. That won't cut out the black line, but it now means I can actually see those white bits on the white background. Okay, so I've got these 2 paws with the claw cut out. I don't need these big ones anymore. And then I'm going to delete the 2 from the original. And then we've got the detail layer of the pumpkin, delete, and delete, and also that bit around the top, and that bit, and that bit, and that bit. So I was sort of remembering what I took out, but you can use these to match up if you're not sure, which can be extra helpful if there's lots of similar looking bits. All right, so that's my cat now, and just look how much space there is on this mat while we've taken out all the pieces. Don't forget, we need to resize this before cutting it out, and as explained earlier in this video, there's a separate tutorial on how to do that and how to get everything cut out on your ScanNCut. Let's take a little look at how it looks cut out. So I'm going to do it at the original size in this new simplified version and in the original version with all of the pretty bits along the side, and then one super small version at 3 inches tall. Here's what the pumpkin cat looks like cut out and stuck together with all of the original layers and patterns on it. So I cut everything out for this one, and you can see that it's cut beautifully along all of those patterns because this is quite a large sized paper craft, so it makes it easy for the cutting machines to do all of those extra details. Let's compare it to one that's also been cut at a large size, but this time it doesn't have any of those details on. So this is the simplified version that we just made in the software tutorial. They both look absolutely gorgeous, but this one cut a lot quicker than this one because I didn't have to do all these decorative parts, and that's the parts that really takes the time if you're cutting out. So if you're in a rush, doing something like this can mean you still end up with a gorgeous papercraft project, but it takes probably around half the time, if not more than that, to cut. And I did promise a tiny version too to show how the plainer version looks really small. So here we go. It's very, very tiny, just 3 inches tall and cut beautifully. It had a little bit of trouble sticking those little dots in the eye on, but apart from that, everything was lovely. And you just look at the size difference between those two. All right, so now you've learned how to remove layers from layered cardstock designs and how to simplify the designs so that you can make them really, really small. For the last part of this tutorial, let's take a look at how you can do those same tricks of removing layers, but also use that to reduce the colours so that if you don't have all the colours that you need in a design, you can work it out to make the most of your existing craft supplies. Here's the fourth and final example for this video. This one is the most complex out of all the options I've shown you because not only does it have more layers than those other designs, but it has lots of very similar colours. You might find that you don't have enough colours of cardstock to cut this in the colours that it loads in on the screen because they are very, very similar, and some shades, particularly browns, can be difficult to find in all the different options. So let's work and try and get this down to use fewer colours of card. At the moment, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different shades. And I reckon we can reduce that quite a bit. I'm going to do all the changes to this version on the left to see how it looks before applying it to the right, with the exception of the Zentangle pieces, which I will delete straight away because I am definitely going to do a more realistic looking lion. So I can just delete those 3 from here because I know I definitely don't want them. That hasn't actually helped me reduce any of the colours because these 2 pieces are still in that original colour. I think we could probably remove this layer from the main as well. Let's move that out the way first just to see. Yeah, that still looks really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that one. All right, now for the rest of it, I'll do my changes on here before applying it to anything else in case I change my mind. Zoom in a little to make it easier to see. I can see I've got these 2 little circles in a light cream colour. That's fairly similar to this creamy colour which goes up to make the details in the face. So let's have a go at changing that creamy colour to the darker one. I've selected the darker one first so that I can copy that hex code, and then we'll go into each of these. That looks nice. I think that will still look really dramatic when it's all cut and stuck together because of the dimension that we'll put into it with the foam squares. There's now only one layer left of this darker gold, which is this one in the ears. I'm going to try changing that to this brown that's in the nose. That's only used for that little bit in the nose at the moment. So I think that would work nicely. And it does. Yeah, that looks nice. For the nose, we could simplify the colours in here. We've got this pinky colour and then a dark brown underneath, which is the same dark brown as the outside. The nice thing about doing this on the screen is if you do something and you don't like it, you can just press the undo button up here to put it back and then try again with something different. You're not going to break anything or damage anything by trying things out. But I think that looks nice in black. And then instead of the pinky colour, I'll go for this dark brown that's around the mane. Yeah, that's looking good. I'm not sure that there's anything else I'd be able to simplify on this now, but I am happy with how this is looking. So I'm going to replicate these changes over on the one I'm actually going to cut out. Okay, so I changed that one to black. If you don't remember the changes you did, just drag apart the layers one at a time, compare it to the original, and then you can see what you changed. Just remember to keep the original ones and not these ones, because these ones are all a different size, so it won't fit your finished paper craft if you accidentally keep these ones. And this little bit on the nose, I changed to this colour. And then I changed this bit, the bottom of the ears, to this other brown. There we go. And then these two circles became the same colour as this. And that's getting down now. Maybe we could do one more thing, which could be to change the eye colour. Get rid of this yellow. We'll see what it looks like first. Click on that yellow. What colour shall we make it? I think they'd still look nice in this goldy colour that the face is cut out from. Might not be quite as impactful, but yeah, that still looks nice. In fact, it probably looks a little bit more realistic because lions probably don't have bright yellow eyes in real life. So that one is going to turn into that colour. So remember, we started with 11 colours and now we're down to just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a teeny tiny bit of white makes 7. Much easier to find 7 shades of card than 11. And of course, it means you'll need less sheets to make it, so it will be more of an economical project. And then I could go ahead and move that one out the way, or just delete it, and then get the rest of the design ready to cut. To show you what this looks like in comparison with the original, I've cut both of them out, so let's take a little look. Here's what the original lion looks like with all of the patterns and all of the different colours. So this is how it looked right at the beginning before I did anything to it. I've stuck it together with glue and foam squares following the assembly guide that's included in the download folder. This is really, really lovely. I love how it really feels like he's looking at you. The depth that you get in the face really helps for those piercing eyes to be coming out. But what about the simplified version? Does it still have that same effect? Well, I would say it definitely does. So this is the version after I removed those layers and combined some of the colours together so it needed less sheets of card and less different individual colours. I think generally I prefer the colours of card that I used for this one. This is a much richer kind of yellowy browny colour than the one on this one. But even just looking at them next to each other, they look completely different with the stylised version and the much more realistic looking version, but both are still absolutely stunning and a wonderful and fun project to make. I hope that you enjoyed this video on how to customise layered SVGs by removing some of the layers. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more ScanNCut and paper crafting tutorials. For more videos in this same series, head to craftwithsarah.com/help, choose Scan and Cut from the machine options, and then all the tutorial links will appear. For over 100 free SVGs to make with your Scan and Cut machine, head to craftwithsarah.com/free-SVGs. Thank you so much for watching along with me. Bye!